A biblical perspective on life, culture and current events. This is 2020 on Vision.
There's an old saying that goes, choose your battles wisely. And would you die on this hill? Sometimes as parents, we have that sort of discernment and that wisdom when we're raising children. But how does that all go when we're talking about the friends we choose, the colleagues that we work with or we want to have work for us? Well, Bill Muehlenberg's been thinking through some issues around the sorts of battles that we might choose and the friends that we might choose. And he's back with us once again. Hey, Bill, welcome back to 2020.
Always great to be here.
Bill, your latest article on choosing friends and battles, because we can't fight every battle we feel we might like to.
Yeah, well, that's right. And we can't have everybody as a friend. So in both cases, we need to be a bit selective. We need wisdom. This is true in life. And I guess a good hunk of my new article is looking especially at things like, social media. Being on Facebook and the like, what friends do you choose there? What battles do you get into? And for a bit of whimsy, I actually start my piece with an old joke that goes something like this. You can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose. Yes. So there's a bit of truth there. We have to be a bit selective and careful. Obviously, on the social media, you'll get sent friend requests quite often. I've learned over the years, I got to suss them out a bit carefully. Look at them, say, all right, is this person going to be trouble? Is this person actually just a troll or somebody who wants to argue with me? Is this person more or less on side? Because you learn over the years that not everybody who wants to be your friend really is, and they can sometimes cause real mischief. So on the friends side of things, we have to be discerning, but same too on, the kind of issues we run with. Now, of course, if your main use of something like Facebook is to show pictures of your cat or your breakfast, well, much of this discussion probably doesn't apply because you wouldn't care. But if you are at all using things like the social media to share truth, to share the gospel, to speak on important issues of the day, to stand up for faith, family, freedom, and so on, then, we need wisdom. We need guidance as to, which battle, if any, should we get into? Which should we just let pass through to the keeper? And again, which allies or friends or colleagues should we kind of have along the way as we do this?
I think it's even a biblical saying, isn't it? Bad friends corrupt good character. Or an alignment with that. It's my paraphrase. But you really run the risk of adopting a life of misery if you actually don't choose friends wisely, because your friends can enhance you or they can detract from you. There is a real importance about using this discernment wisely.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do it in all of life. Certainly, if you're going to get married, you got to be very careful who your marriage partner is going to be. But same with maybe starting a business. You want to know something about your business partner, and in life, simply having friends, who's going to be a good friend, who might end up really being kind of a toxic relationship to you. And as you say, there is biblical warrant. That was a good passage you mentioned. I looked at Psalm 1, right? Blessed is the man who doesn't walk in the counsel of the wicked, or stand in the way of sinners, or sit in the seat of scoffers. So even there we get more of the same, right? Be careful who you hang around with. Be careful who you spend a lot of time with. Sure, you'll want to win others to the Lord, but in terms of those who might be close contacts, whether in life or in social media, there some more care is needed.
Your own story here, Bill, because, we all have that limited number of personal friends, and that becomes a little more exaggerated when we get into a church setting, and there are, people talk about A friends, B friends, C friends, and you can go down a list like that. But when you've got Facebook friends, you can have thousands of people there, and more likely to tick that box that says, yes, welcome, 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 but not all of those are likely to be a good and supportive and nurturing friendship, and that's been your experience over the years.
Yeah, right. I know some people who basically any request that comes in, they'll automatically say yes. It's as if, having a zillion friends is the way to go. I think something like Facebook allows you only 5,000. So once you reach that limit, you can't have any more. And as some listeners might recall, I was on earlier Facebook, and they booted me off. And I was getting over 4,000 Facebook friends back then. Now I'm about 1,500. I guess I'm a bit more cautious about who I let on, because sometimes I wonder, were some of the people I had earlier let on as a friend maybe been responsible in seeing me given the boot from Facebook in the first place? So, yeah, we need a bit of care and caution. Just know who your friends are, who your enemies are, and who, you can probably give a miss to, even though they might be all right. But sometimes, you got to know what your battles are, what your aim for being there is, and then find those who can maybe fit in with what your mission is, even a mission on the social media.
And you've come up with some rules of thumb that you can apply to those online who seem to be wearing out their welcome.
Yeah, as we say, checking out in the first place those who ask to be your friend is important. But even still, if you let somebody on, then there's different. I think we've all experienced it, right? You never hear from some people, except all of a sudden, out of the blue, they come to your page to criticize, to argue, to pick a fight, right? You never hear anything otherwise, but when they do come, it's seemingly to argue with you. So you think, okay, now is this my idea of a good friend? In fact, is this my idea of a good Christian? So yeah, even there you have to be watchful, careful. And again, some people just want to use the social media to get a lot of attention or to bring things to themselves. So again, you got to be careful. Are people, when they come to your site, asking honest questions, or are they just looking to pick a fight or whatever? So kind of like in life, you have to be a bit discerning as well.
You and I are a little bit similar. You'll write 15 articles in a week, and I might have 15 guests on 2020 in a week. And we're really actually spending a lot of time learning how to understand the various battles that are going on. Not everybody has time to do that, or the experience to be able to fight a number of battles on a number of fronts. You like to think of letting some battles go through to the keeper and just focus on what you're going to be good at.
Yeah, and that probably, like many things, at least for me, comes with age and experience and maturity. I was probably not so good at all this earlier on, right? Either A, I'd want to join every single battle I find on Facebook, even if it was from somebody else's page, or B, any little thing I'd feel compelled to, rebut or argue against. And, I'm learning hopefully to mellow just a little bit. Not everything is worth getting involved in. Certainly, given that I've got so many things going on with my own Culture Watch website, I don't really need to enter into everybody else's battles. And of course, sometimes I got to tell people that they want me to come to their site and say, Bill, can you help defend me here? And well, sometimes I can, but if I did that with everybody, I wouldn't have time to do what I'm called to do. And I wish these people would learn to stand on their own 2 feet as well, learn how to make their own case and then defend it online or wherever. So yeah, different things we can learn. And as I say in my article, the third kind of areas where these two things come together, both friends and battles. Sometimes you can find you're online or on side with somebody who's very good on maybe one issue, but not so good on other issues. So there you got to learn to have some discernment again.
What about the discernment we might need if we become the ones who are causing problems for other believers who are looking to fight some battles, and we're actually the ones who are causing all sorts of controversy where controversy might not be called for, might not be necessary, and may actually be detracting from the battle that our friends are in fact involved in? Any thoughts around that?
Yeah, well, again, we need to have wisdom. What is worth going to the wall over? What are the key battles? Obviously, a Christian would say the gospel is the key thing we should be arguing for, defending. Other battles, yeah, some more important than others. Again, in early days, I would probably take issue with others on things that now I see, oh, look, you didn't need to wade in there with that. You didn't need to make us think about that. It's not that crucial. Sure, it's important in some ways, but if you're going to lose fellowship with good Christians over things that aren't so crucial, well, that doesn't help, obviously. So, yeah, again, learning about truth and its importance, and about unity and its importance. What is the mix between standing for truth but not unnecessarily causing division and strife?
You mention a number of names in your latest article that we're talking about today, names like Martina Navratilova, and what she stands for, J.K. Rowling, who was, a one to be resisted at one stage, and then she came out with some good things. And you've got Lauren Daigle, the Christian singer, who, may be weak on one thing but strong on others. You've got to pick you've got to pick the sorts of things that are virtues to support, and some of the things that they say might not be in agreement with our own values.
Yeah, again, wisdom is needed. The first two names you mentioned, both pagans, right? Both females, Martina, the tennis player and lesbian, J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter, but both have come out in the last year or two very strongly, and I think very well, on the whole trans issue. I think the trans thing is, just terrible what it's doing. It's killing our kids. It's ruining so many people. So I find allies with, not just Christians, but if J.K. Rowling and Martina Navratilova want to come out strongly against the trans agenda, hey, I'm happy to support them. And then I've had Christians come and say, oh, we can't support these people. And I say, well, on this issue, I can and I will, right? I don't support them on all the other things, obviously, but on something as crucial as this, I'll run with them. As to the third person you mentioned, a Christian singer, there'd be a number of these I've written about over the years, often good, often promoting good things. The one you just mentioned, she actually sang at the recent Super Bowl in America. But I recalled years ago writing a piece on her when she came out very weak indeed on the issue of homosexuality and homosexual marriage. So I don't think Christians should be weak on that issue, but I'm glad on other things she seems to be strong, seems to be pushing a good gospel message. So again, you weigh these things up. How much do we have to agree with somebody before we can promote them, at least to some extent? How much do they go off the rails on such vital matters that we really have to say, okay, sorry, I just cannot run with you because what you're doing is just it's such an important issue and you've really gotten it wrong. So again, my whole theme of this piece, wisdom, discernment, pray, think carefully. All right, God, what do you want me to do with this person? What do you want me to do with this issue? Do I need to get involved? Do I stay away? Do I let others get involved? So certainly on the social media where there's warfare going on all the time, there at least we need a whole lot of wisdom and understanding as to what God would have us do. How do we get involved, and where do we simply zip the lip and stay silent?
Well, the piece we're talking about is called On Choosing Friends and Battles. The fact that wisdom is needed, and there are so many battles you can't fight all of them, and it may even be a wise thing to be thinking of becoming equipped to be able to argue your point when it comes to the battles that you think you should win, or that is a hill that you should really be prepared to die on. But to get a hold of this latest article and read what Bill's been talking about on choosing friends and battles, you can find that article at billmuehlenberg.com, or you can simply Google Culture Watch, one word. Bill, always great getting an update. Thanks so much for sharing these insights with us today on 2020.
Thanks again, Neil.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.